Good morning and welcome to Business Finance. BFIN 322, I believe the number is. It probably says on here someplace. But in any event, this will be a welcome. I will try to get out some more videos as we talk about assignments and whatnot. But I think if you look through the content, you'll see I think there's already a lot of videos that I've recorded in the past that'll relate to the assignments and whatnot as you go through those. So. But we'll talk about that as we go along. So, business finance, this should be a class that you've taken after you've taken Accounting 1 and Accounting 2, unless you got permission to sign up for it otherwise. But I think most of you have completed that. And, Accounting 1, Accounting 2 talk about or get you into understanding how you fill in a lot of financial forms. And hopefully in this one we get into the analysis of those financial statements, the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and ratio analysis, different things like that we talk about. We learned some good tools. We'll take a look at the syllabus here in a bit, and that'll maybe show you what's going to be expected throughout. It will show you what's going to be expected throughout the course. Just as some general things here to take a look at, the main page for the business finance on Brightspace has this. Let's see the syllabus. I hope that doesn't lead you astray, but anyhow, this syllabus will open up and it will give you the syllabus for the class. You'll also end up finding that in the content section. The textbook website should take you to the McGraw-Hill website, and there's a little bit of importance there as we go through this. There are data sets that later on you might need. In some cases might help keep you from having to input data manually. You can just download it from the textbook website. Otherwise you probably wouldn't need it too much. But it's there in case you do need it. And then a couple different articles, about just things that you might want to read that are of interest, some funnies, I guess, and whatnot. And, the week 1, week 2, I wouldn't pay too much attention to down there. I'll probably end up deleting those since mostly that is set up if you click on the content section. I think this is how most of the folks here in the business department anyhow have things set up. I'll click on the table of contents first, and that should give us an idea, right? We got set up by week 1, 2, 3, etc., and everything should be pretty much set up. We will try to, in this class, stick pretty close to this schedule. A lot of this, is going to be on your own in terms of the assignments and quizzes that you have to take. If you go, for example, in Chapter 1, Week 1, Chapter 1, there is no assignment, okay? And even for Chapter 2, okay? Reason for that, Chapters 1 and Chapter 2 are kind of reviews of your accounting and whatnot. There is a quiz, okay? A quiz is kind of designed for you to click on it, open it up, open up the book, and they're open book quizzes. You can have the book there with you. Feel free. There's no reason that you shouldn't get 100% on these quizzes. For the most part, they're not meant to be that difficult. They're just meant to get you to take a look at things and understand them for those particular chapters. As we get into future weeks, week 2, you'll see then we have an assignment. And most of your assignments should be set up like this. And so if you click on this, you'll see you can download it. For Windows computers anyhow, newer ones anyhow, I think Windows 10, probably Windows 8 is like this too. Then it says what do you want to do, and it gives you that option. I had to mess around with my settings actually a little bit to get this to come up like this. Otherwise it would just come up as save, and you may want to save it anyhow. You should, because you should save these assignments as you do them, but I just want to open it in this case because I've obviously got it saved otherwise, or I can come back here and open up the blank. It takes a minute or two. These assignments should be relatively the same as ones that are in the book. They'll correspond. You'll see the numbers as it opens up, if it opens up. Computers are running a little slow, probably because everybody's jumping on them right now. So you might have to hit that enable editing up there. Um, you'll note that down here, there's tabs, okay? And these should relate to the questions that are in the textbook. It's very possible that I've changed the numbers up here, at least on some of the assignments. So you might have the textbook, you might open it up to problem 3.2, but you might find out that these numbers up here, the problem will stay the same. I've just changed the numbers around a little bit. I've just found from semester to semester that kind of maybe cuts down on people taking some shortcuts. So you can click through that. You should, in fact, I demand, or I guess request, or I could say require, that you go ahead and complete these right in Excel, right? So the problem's up here, so you should be able to come down here and use these Excel, and the cells that are down here to actually complete the problem. And you'll see when you look at the videos that I've prepared for each of these assignments that how you'll go about doing that. Okay, so this will be the assignment, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different problems that you'll want to do, that you will do for chapter 3. Let me close out of that. If you come down, these are the chapter 3 videos. Sorry, that's not labeled as well as it should be. But if we open that up, there's 7 videos. There were 7 problems, if I remember right. Oops. Let's click on that, open it up. I probably did a couple videos for the first problem because they were probably similar, right? So let's go back here. Sorry. If you watch these videos, and these are links, these will take you to a YouTube video actually that will correspond, that will be very similar to whatever this problem is. So this is problem 3.2. So I'd advise you, if I've got a 3.1 there and a 3.2, you probably want to watch them both. They should be relatively short, a few minutes each. It will give you good, pretty detailed instructions on how to complete that particular assignment. I've seen students when we've done this in a face-to-face class where they'll split the screen, right? And they'll be listening to the video or watching the video over here. They'll have Excel set up over here and working on that as I go through it, hitting pause occasionally, entering in the data, just kind of follow through like that. That's one way of doing it. Other people might have other ways that they prefer to do that, but I'll click on this. If I click on that, it should open it up. I did open it up as a separate deal. Business Finance, Chapter 3, Problem 2, related to Problem 2. I think I've done. Problem 1 is just to give you an idea of what those look like. So that'll be, pretty much throughout the course. You'll work on those, the quizzes and the assignments on a chapter by chapter basis. Those aren't designed to take a whole ton of time, but certain chapters are going to be more difficult than other chapters, and so don't delay. You've got due dates, that are set up here. I think I've gone through pretty much the entire semester, and again, expect some flexibility. I oftentimes, as I'm trying to plan out the whole semester, I'll get dates wrong or whatever, and I'm also open to some suggestions, although suggestions to delay everything usually don't work out too well. But just as an example, last semester in business statistics, I actually had a gal request that I move, I believe it was the assignments up ahead earlier, by 2 or 3 or 4 days, and I thought that was kind of crazy. And my comment was, well, heck, you could just do it ahead like that. And she said, no, I need somebody, I need it to be there. I need it to be assigned because then I'll do it, and that makes the quizzes easier. I always thought it was the other way around. And so even though I thought, she might be kind of crazy, I actually quizzed the class, and the class agreed with her and said, yeah, we would prefer it that way. So I changed the schedule to accommodate them, and it moved things up, and it seemed to make things work better, at least in their eyes, and that's fine. So if you have some suggestions like that, pass them on to me. I'm more than willing to take a look at those. Let's go. I should have jumped into that. I'm sorry. I've got the syllabus also here in the content section. Let's go ahead and look at that. And if you hit this down arrow, you can download it. If you just click on it, it's going to open it up right within Brightspace there. And I like to open it up like this. You get a little bigger view. I guess it'll cover the full screen. And for sure, when I'm showing it to you guys, I hope that makes it look a little bit better. Although it does take a while for it to open. And let me expand that a little bit, although I got to move this. Okay. And I'm not going to read through it. You guys can kind of read through that, but I'll just try to get to the main things. Book, Foundations of Financial Management. It's the 17th edition by Blockhart and Danielson. Of course, they have those at the bookstore. I'm sure you can also buy them online, and people are doing that. I totally understand at the first part of the semester, people get delayed in books and this and that, and so yeah, people are going to get a little bit behind. You probably know it at least for the first few weeks anyhow. There's due dates for the assignments, but there's not end dates. And if I put in an end date, that's an absolute. You can't submit it. If I have a due date, then you can still submit it past the due date, but it will show late on my end. I do that because I understand. I want you guys to get it in early. If I think you're, I might, if everybody just decides to submit it late, I might discount everybody's grade a little bit, So the idea is that simply that I understand that sometimes we have some hiccups at the start of the semester, and so I try to accommodate that. As we go further along, I tend to put some end dates in those where it is kind of absolute. So I hope you get in the habit of submitting things on time as you're able to. And again, I get that there's sometimes things that come up. So let me know if they do. Please email me ahead of time. Email is probably the best way to get in touch with me. You can leave voicemail on my phone, and sometimes I actually listen to that, but I'm not as good at that. My emails I look at constantly. So the knowledge and the objectives of the course, again, you guys can read through those. Course policies, we talk about things in here that everybody ought to read through. They should be kind of common, though, with most syllabi that you get throughout the college, or at least over here at the College of Technical Sciences. Again, it says late projects will lose 1 letter grade per day. Yeah, that's after the first few weeks. That will probably be true, but at this point in time, at the start here, I tend to be a little bit lenient, but please don't get in that habit. So here's the grades, how they're going to be: quizzes, assignments, and discussions. I doubt we'll have discussions in here. I sometimes leave that open in face-to-face classes. Sometimes I like to have discussions, or I'll have added quizzes, those types of things to encourage attendance, but in this case, since it's an online course, it might not be necessary. There's 2 projects, appropriately labeled Project 1 and Project 2. I guess if you're an old Dr. Seuss fan, they had Thing 1 and Thing 2, but so we got Project 1 and Project 2. They're going to be worth a decent amount of your grade, and so since the assignments and whatnot are kind of set up and the videos are already set up for that, a lot of what I'll do on a weekly basis, and it won't be nearly as long as I'm talking today, but it will be possibly to be talking about those projects and where you need to be on those and how you need to work on those. Project 1 is taking a workbook, an Excel workbook that we get that I've downloaded from SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. It's just a really nice Excel workbook for folks if you're thinking about starting a business and you want to put numbers together. And so you're going to be selecting a business type. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. I keep it simple. And you're going to be filling out, those financial statements, okay, those projections, budget, whatever you want to call it, as if you were going to be starting up that business. It's to give you a look at those statements and what they do and how they interact and those types of things. They improved this particular workbook here about 4 or 5 years ago and made it really easy. Before, it was not so interconnected, and so each statement was kind of separate, and it was a little more difficult. And I used to have these each were 30%, but when they simplified that statement, the workbook, I lowered this one to 25%, and then made this one worth 35% because it really did make project one a little bit more simple. So we'll get going on that probably next week. Okay, so I'll give you this week since it's a short week, number one, and we're getting back into it. I'll give you this week to get going, and then next week we'll kind of start on project one, and we'll start slow on that and kind of work our way into it a little bit, but we'll try to push it a little bit too. The earlier we can get done with that, then we can start project two, and it's a little bit more robust, project two, and what that will be is an analysis of a publicly traded company. We live in the United States with a Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, and they require that publicly traded companies publish their financial statements on a quarterly basis, and we have access to that. It's an amazing thing with the internet that we can access those, immediately once they're submitted. It's earnings seasons right now, which is for all of last year. We're having companies put out earnings for how they did this past year, and we can look those up, and it's intriguing. It's fun, I think. Granted, I don't have much of a life, but I enjoy reading these financial statements and looking at them and see how companies are doing, and that's kind of what we're going to do in project two, is that you guys will choose a company. Again, I advise you to keep it simple and do some financial analysis of that company, along with a couple other little things, but mainly a financial analysis of that company. And that's going to be a written paper at that point in time. So obviously we'll talk more about that as we go along. Oops, I'm sorry. The rest of the syllabus is different things that we've got going on, COVID, etc., which you should read there. All right. I think I'm kind of winding down a little bit. If you want to, come down and you see some more about Project One, say, and the different things that we're going to do. I mean, those 3 assignments are due, but these are previous videos that I've done, and you can sure look at those if you like. I'll probably redo those, as we get going, and try to add some different examples or whatever the case might be for this current semester. I think I've probably talked enough. This is, I know generally speaking, they tell me to try to keep these down to 15 or 20 minutes, and that makes a lot of sense. I would point out that, let me go back to that content, or let's go to the calendar. There are a few things coming up. Due the 22nd, right, dang, I gotta go get a new calendar. My calendar up there on my wall is 2020. I got one up here, though. The 22nd is this Friday, okay, and I've kind of I used to make a lot of things due on the Sundays, but I thought about that. Why ruin your guys' weekend? I'll try to push you a little bit here to get this stuff done during the week, get it submitted so that your weekend is free instead of wait until Sunday and do everything. So these are due the 22nd. You got quizzes due for both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. The quizzes, I guess I should have shown you that just so you know. If you go to the content section, click on Week 1. Here's the quiz. Okay, you should be able to just click on that, and it should take you right to the quiz. I think this is for I should look at it as a student as opposed to me. Let me see if I can change that, see if it'll change. Let me try it again now. Week 1, Chapter 1 quiz. I should be able to click on that, and it should take me to it, and click Start Quiz to begin. I don't know if I have a Start Quiz. Maybe because I'm not a student, it doesn't give me the Start Quiz. Ooh, you know what? I might have to open this up for you, though, too. So I'll check that out, but yes, you should. There should be a button down here then that just says start quiz. You can start it. I don't know that I have time limits at all set on those, but you might take a look. Sometimes it defaults to like 2 hours or something, which should give you plenty of time. But again, it's open book. You know, open it up. Probably wouldn't hurt to at least review the chapter a little bit before you do it, so it'll probably save you some time as you take the quiz if you just have an idea where you need to go look. And you'll take that quiz. It should be anywhere from, I think generally around 10 questions, maybe max of 20. Shouldn't take you, shouldn't take you but a half an hour maybe for each quiz. So just to give you an idea. Okay. I think I've gabbed on long enough. I know it's longer than what they think we ought to talk, and so I think I will sign off. I'm just over the 20 minutes, so I'm not too bad. If you have some questions, feel free to get a hold of me. Email's the best, again. I do check my phone. Sometimes you'll catch me. If I'm here, I'll answer my phone, unless I'm recording something. And other than that, I think we're good to go. And jump in. Please don't procrastinate. Get going on this. Next week's going to get a little bit busier. We do have the condensed schedule again because of the the condensed semester, because of the COVID, of course. So it's going to get a little bit busy, but it's over a shorter time frame, so the light at the end of the tunnel's not quite so far away. Thanks, and I'll be talking to you again soon.